Recipe? Well, today we're going to learn how to factor those. I forgot to change our learning target on the board because I'm awesome. We've already had this conversation.
Hey, you have a calculator? It says Asbury on it too.
I love humans.
Why? Hey, is Mark one of those humans?
I actually do love Mark.
Oh, that was sarcastic?
No, I actually do love Mark.
No, you talk about the humans for it.
Oh yeah, I don't really like most humans.
Am I one of those humans?
Depends on the day. Alright, I can... Hello, thank you.
Sorry, I was thinking.
No worries, it just scared me a little bit. I'm not prepared for an attack, apparently, so you could have been anybody. You can get them markers out of the closet. I can factor special trinomials like A, Ninja Pig. What is wrong with you? It's trinomial. I'm sorry. I got excited. On your thingy, I put factoring special products. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It goes back and forth. Could you just get one of each and not get the whole box? Or I know. Alright, so special products. Remember when we had... I can't. You guys are a bunch of weirdos. Alright, so when we had A plus B quantity squared, we multiplied it to get this. We would square the first, multiply A times B, then times 2, square the second. And we would put a plus sign when we had two pluses. So today we're going backwards from this one to this one. We're going back. Now what's different between the first box and the second box? It has a negative, so it would be A minus B quantity squared. And what's different about our third one? It's just 2, right? So if they have 3 terms like this and they're perfect squares, you'll have one set of parentheses because it's the same thing. For this guy, this turns out to be A plus B times A minus B. Do you guys remember when we did this? Yeah, and you'll use FOIL. So now we're going to talk about what makes them special. Now, you can only use this method when they are special products, which means they are perfect squares. What's a perfect square?
The things on our note.
Yes, the things on your note card. Yeah, so like if you take the square root of 16, you get 4. 2 is not a perfect square because the square root of 2 is like 1 point something, 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 something.
Oh, you did.
So what about 9? Is 9 a perfect square?
Yes.
What about 25?
Yes.
What about
Oh, yes.
What about 36?
Yes.
What about 34? What about 12? What's the square root of 16?
4.
Square root of 25? Square root of 12? Decimal. Square root of 8? Decimal. Square root of 9? Square root of 64? Square root of 72? Decimal. So it has to be perfect squares. So this guy has to be a perfect square. And this guy has to be a perfect square for you to be able to do this. Now the middle term is going to disappear because it's 2 times A times B. And that's what we did when we learned how to multiply these. Are you ready? So take the square root of the first term. So what would the square root of A squared be? No. What would the square root of a squared be? A. So we did that. We have an A. Then you take the square root of the third term. What's our third term here in this example? And what's the square root of b squared? And that's all you do. Then put a squared on it. Yes.
This is different than the first.
We're going backwards, baby.
When is our test?
Thursday. We have a full factoring test Thursday. On all the factoring.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yep.
When is the study guide?
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Alright, so our first example is going to be 4y squared plus 12y plus 9. Now, these are abstract terms of what I want you to do, so we're going to do a concrete example so you can see exactly what I mean. Now, the first thing you have to look for is see if your first and third term are perfect squares. Is 4y squared a perfect square? Is 9 a perfect square? Fantastic. So you can use the special trinomial factoring.
Yes.
So the first thing you do in our steps, it says take the square root of the first term. So it's the square root of 4y squared. 2y. Then it says take the square root of 9. 3. Now we have 2 pluses, so what's the sign in the middle going to be? And you slap a square root on it and you're done.
Oh.
Is that the same thing? This two?
No. We're going to learn how to do cubes.
What do we do with this one?
It went away. Now let's talk about y. To get your middle term, it's 2 times a times b, right?
No.
What's 2y? Our a is 2y, our b is 3. So what's 2y times 3?
6.
Times 2 is? There it is! Yes!
That's fine.
I know. You ready for another one? Alright, 9y squared plus 24y plus 16.
It's easy. It's only hard.
Are the first and third terms perfect squares? Okay, so what's the square root of 9y squared? 3y. What's the square root of 16? We're going to have pluses, and you slap a square root on it, and you're done.
Are we going to be able to use our factoring card?
The bottle? Walmart. My stickers, mhm.
Are you gonna give us another note?
No. Maybe.
Are they going to be hard?
No, you have a study guide. We have a packet. You're going to get another packet. Like, if you study, the A will come. Who is he talking to?
I'm coming for all of these things you can give. Formulas.
None? There's these 3, but that's it. Because you muttering.
I'm not looking. It's a question here, but it's hardest for me.
How many ways do we have to factor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have GCF. We have A equals 1, use star method. We have A equals a number, use star method. And we have specials. Alright, so
in sign language.
in Asbury language too.
Wait,
How would you,
I was like, you're clapping.
I got one. How would you know when to use?
Okay, so let's say that again. Ready? If the first and third term are perfect squares, then you use it.
Oh, it has to have a 2 by.
So like,
Perfect square.
okay. So like in the base thing that you gave us.
No, she said it has to be perfect square.
We're going to get to it. Hang on.
He has a 2 by.
She said it has to be perfect.
Alright, so this one also has to be a perfect square.
it is. They're both-
Perfect square, yes, and it is because they're both a squared and b squared. Magic. Now, what's different about this one?
Mine.
Okay, so you still take the square root of the first term. What's the square root of a squared? Look at that. Alright, then you take the square root of the third term. What's the square root of b squared? Then you slap a squared on it and a minus. Why do I put a minus on it?
Because the positive times the, or negative times the positive.
Because b is negative and c is. So you'll have two negatives. Are you ready for an example? Alright, so let's do x squared minus 6x plus 9. Are the first and third terms both perfect squares?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's draw our parentheses. What is the square root of x squared?
It's
What is the square root of 9?
3.
And then I put a subtraction, slap a squared on it, I'm done. Now let's check it to make sure. You always go back and check to make sure you get your middle number, which is 2ab. So you would do x times 3, which is? Times 2 is? And we did it right. That's all you do.
It's recorded.
Are you ready to try one without me? (25a squared minus 20a plus 4). Also, your test Thursday is all or nothing. Like, probably no partial credit.
So no more for like plus.
Yep, all or nothing. So we need to study, don't we? Is there a demon in you? Do I need to call a priest? Are you done with this problem? What'd you get? 5 minus 2? That's all you got? What am I supposed to write, Manny?
No, I didn't. I said,
5a minus 2 quantity squared. Did we all get that?
yeah.
Look at us go. Questions so far? With the x minus 1, x squared minus 1?
Like, are we allowed to do this?
Yeah, because it'll be this. I'm gonna do that one. I'm actually gonna write it on here as your
They just
example.
have like ones like when I was on test, like to do this.
It's not super, I mean, it's a normal test that we give in here. You know what I mean, Butterbean? Like, it's not everything super labeled, like, do STAR method, because that defeats the purpose of the test. Alright, so for the last one, you have a squared minus b squared. So this time you have two terms, which means you're going to have two parentheses. So two terms, two parentheses, and they both have to be perfect squares. Perfect square, perfect square. And this is actually called the difference, because it's subtraction, of two squares. Crazy! Patrick, why are you making a face like you're lost? Are you lost, son? Okay. Every time I look back there, you have this scared look on your face like you're lost in the forest and haven't found your way.
No, I'm just lost in
Alright, so what you do is you take the square root of the first term.
Oh, never saw that one.
I know. Then what do you think we're going to do? Do we have a third term?
No. Just the second one. The second term.
Oh, yeah.
And then put on the 2 parentheses and you're done. I'm telling
I have
you.
a question. If it's a positive in between them, just 2 positives in parentheses.
This one? Can't factor it. Can't factor this crumb.
So,
Because if we had 2 positives, it would end up being this guy over here.
Oh.
So you can't do it. So this example was in your maze. This problem of x squared minus 1 was in your maze. And this is how you factor it. You take the square root of the first term and then the square root of the second term, and you slap them in 2 different parentheses with a plus and a minus. Because a positive times a negative is a negative, and we need a negative in our answer. So what's the square root of x squared? So you write an x here and an x here. What's the square root of 1? So you write a 1 here and a 1 here, and you're done. Uno más. And then I'm going to give you 4 problems to do without me that'll count as homework, and then you're getting a packet.
That has all of it on it.
Your turn of what, Tater Tot?
36 problems.
Y'all know that's what it's like in every other math class except mine, right?
what do you mean? What do you mean?
You are so annoying. Alright, 64x squared minus 25y squared. Now, are both of those perfect squares? Yes. Okay? Even though it has a y squared back there, that's still a perfect square. So, if I'm going to show you. Man, it's crazy. I never teach y'all anything, but today is a new day. We're going to have a plus and a minus. Cheney.
That's a song.
Dang, son. That doesn't mean you got to sing it. Alright, so you take the square root of the first term. What's the square root of 64x squared? 8x. 8x. What's the square root of 25y squared? 5y. 5y. And you're done.
So that's okay. You have 2 variables. Because I got confused on that yesterday, and I always do in the math thing for the math. I didn't know if I could.
Look at that. Alright, 4 problems, and then I'm giving you a packet. Is everybody ready?
4 problems. On the back.
56B, as in potato.
That's too big. I gotta get it.
Don't die, Manny. While you are working on these right now, I'm going to bring around a packet for you. Factor a perfect square trinomial sum, a perfect square trinomial difference. It even tells you what to do with a cube and the sum of cubes. Crazy, I know. And then it says in the directions what you're doing. So you would use difference of squares to factor difference of squares. I know, mind-blowing. And then it tells you for each section. Now, once you finish with your homework for tonight that I gave you, A, B, C, and D, bring it to me so I can check it and give you a grade. And that's your homework.